Elmer realizes he needs 55 million gold, far more than his previous earnings. He contemplates selling rare skill books but struggles to find buyers. Elma considers 3 money-making plans: collecting rare drops, farming mobs, or learning new skills, but rejects them all due to inefficiency or waste. Elma considers forming a party to expand his options, but overhears adventurers discussing a valuable blood-stained sword, catching his interest. Luce excitedly claims her skill caused the rare item drop, but the others respond with awkward silence. Luce asks for a share of the loot, but her teammate dismisses her as useless in battle. Hurt by his harsh words, she struggles to respond. Luce defends herself, arguing that she followed Klein's advice on skill allocation. Her teammate coldly repeats the word unfair, leaving her stunned. Klein coldly reminds Luce that he only gave advice, but she was the one who ultimately chose her skill allocation. Luce is left speechless. The party argues over skill allocation and rewards, a common issue in the game. Frustrated, Klein throws 100k gold at Luce. Klein coldly tells Luce to take the money and leave, mocking her lack of skills. Reese watches silently, gripping her weapon. Luce apologizes, offering to forego her share, but Klein coldly dismisses her as a lost cause. Reese watches as Luce bows and leaves. Financial struggles and poor skill allocation often lead to party breakups. The protagonist wonders if Luce invested in weak skills, making leveling difficult. The protagonist suspects Luce might have a rare skill tree and wants to confirm it. Meanwhile, Luce pleads to rejoin the party, promising not to ask for money anymore. The protagonist desperately asks Luce to join his party, shocking her as she wasn't expecting this sudden change. The protagonist urgently reaches out to Luce, begging her to join his party. She is completely stunned by his desperate plea. As the protagonist desperately tries to recruit Luce, offering her 80% of the rewards, a new figure, Elma, appears. He claims to have overheard Luce's expulsion and wants to scout her for his own party. Klein mocks Luce's low battle power, saying she can't even level up properly. Seeing the protagonist's determination, he offers to give her away, warning him not to regret it later. But the protagonist confidently accepts, unfazed by the insult. The protagonist firmly states he doesn't need permission to take Luce. Klein smugly agrees, but his confidence wavers as the situation unfolds. Klein questions the protagonist's level and allies. The protagonist reveals he's a level 23 solo heavy knight, shocking Klein. Luce, at level 13, doubts her usefulness. The protagonist confidently states it's no problem, surprising Klein and his party. Reese and Luce observe the tense exchange. Reese and Klein grow suspicious, questioning why an E-rank adventurer would want Luce so badly. The protagonist realizes he might have been too direct. Luce remains clueless. Klein wants Luce gone without a fuss. Reese grows suspicious, doubting a solo heavy knight could reach level 23. Klein dismisses it, but Reese remains skeptical. Klein sees this as a perfect way to get rid of Luce without damaging their reputation. Elma accepts Luce, and she hesitantly agrees, while Elma remains silent. Luce happily joins Elma's party, and Elma acknowledges this as the moment he gained his first party member. Klein gives Luce 100,000 gold as a parting gift, congratulating her on forming a new party. Luce thanks him sincerely. Elma refuses Klein's money, calling it an insult. He tells Luce they won't be indebted to people like him, despite her hesitation. Klein mocks them, calling their party useless. Luce thanks Elma for letting her join, but doubts her abilities. Elma reassures her, but she teasingly asks if he helped because he fell for her. Elma is stunned. Luce assumes Elma protects her because he likes her, but quickly backtracks, suggesting they start as friends. Elma, overwhelmed, shifts the topic, asking if she has the Great Fortune skill tree. Dungeons in Magic World are nightmares of the sleeping god Alzaros. Alzaros, born from the eternal void, created gods and the world but lost his mind over time. Eventually, the very gods he created sealed him away. Alzaros' nightmares created monsters that opened gates to the real world, forming dungeons known as dream holes. One such dungeon is Angel's Toy Box entrance. Luce Rubus, an F-rank adventurer at level 13, has high agility but weak attack and defense. Her only skill, Dice Thrust, activates only if she rolls a 6, making her unreliable in combat. She regrets not investing in attack power-up or the Fool's Acrobatics, but Elma reassures her. Elma tells Luce, "I need you," leaving her flustered. When she asks for clarification, he declares they'll earn 30 million gold and boost her to level 30, warning her not to reveal her status so easily again. Elma explains their plan. He'll attract enemies while Luz takes them down with her knife. Despite the dungeon's level 50 recommendation, he assures her they'll farm safely on the first floor. Luz reflects on trusting his judgment. Luz, determined to prove herself, wields the expensive iron piercer Elma gave her. Encouraged by his trust, she vows to do her best. Suddenly, a large enemy approaches, catching Elma's attention. Luz and Elma encounter a patchwork bear, a deceptively cute yet dangerous monster. Elma explains its attack patterns, revealing deep knowledge of it. Luz, puzzled, asks if he's a fan, to which he dismissively responds. Elma instructs Luz to attack the patchwork bear from its blind spot while he handles its strikes. He uses his newly acquired skill, Shadow Stomp, to immobilize the monster, setting up an opportunity for Luz to attack. Luz assumes the patchwork bear isn't dangerous due to its lack of visible claws or teeth until it suddenly transforms, revealing a massive mouth filled with sharp fangs, shocking both her and Elma. Elma pins down the transformed patchwork bear, instructing Luz to finish it off. Luz, now seeing its terrifying form, finds it far less cute than before. Luz lands the finishing blow on the patchwork bear, surprised at how resilient it was. Elma, curious, asks how many levels she gained, while Luz panics at the result. Luz panics as the patchwork bear drops nothing, fearing she'll be kicked out again. Elma reassures her, explaining they're farming for power leveling. As another bear appears, they prepare to fight again. Luz excitedly shows off 2 dropped bear shields, surprising Elma, who finds the drop rate unusual. She proudly asks if bringing her along was worth it. Elma realizes Luz's special skill Beckoning Kitty boosts her luck by 500%, explaining the unusually high drop rate. Luz excitedly asks if she was useful this time. Elma thanks Luz for joining him. Luz excitedly realizes she has leveled up significantly and jokes about gathering more bear shields. Elma announces their next target, the golden frog, leaving Luz in awe. Elma recalls that Lana was the first monster he defeated upon arriving in this world. Now, their target is its rare variant, the golden Lana, which they plan to farm in this area. Golden Lanas are rare, harmless monsters with high rewards, earning them the nickname loot boxes in Magic World. Golden Lanas spawn frequently in the middle of the dungeon, and finding one can make an adventurer rich for years. Golden Lanas are extremely fast and show no signs of taking damage, making them difficult to catch. In this world, unlike the game, death is permanent, making encounters even riskier. Golden Lanas are too fast and tanky, even surpassing agile jesters and heavy knights. Regular attacks won't work, but Luz has a plan. Elma believes everything has a weakness if you know enough. He asks Luz if she has a skill to damage the Golden Lanas, leaving her confused. Elma confidently tells Luz he's counting on her, leaving her in shock and disbelief. Elma blocks an attack from a toy box monster while Luz hesitates. They decide to retreat, avoiding unnecessary battles that might attract more enemies. Luz questions if they should focus on finding a golden Lana now. Elma reassures her, saying their levels are perfect for the hunt. He estimates they might find around 2 more if they keep at it for another day. Elma emphasizes how rare and valuable golden Lanas are, assuring Luz that even with her great fortune skill, they won't find one easily. He tells her to speak up if she feels unsafe, while Luz nervously gulps. Luz confidently declares that she'll follow Elma anywhere, gripping her weapon with determination. However, she suddenly stops, eyes widening in surprise at something ahead. Elma and Luz freeze as they spot a golden Lana in the distance, its shimmering body glowing in the dim hallway. Their expressions shift from shock to determination. This is the rare monster they've been hunting. Elma tells Luz to stay calm and focus. The golden Lana hops away as Elma confirms Luz used her skill points. Luz confirms she has the 2 skills needed. Elma prepares the plan, telling her to bait the golden Rana, but Luz seems hesitant. Luz tries to calm herself, taking deep breaths while Elma reassures her. After gathering her resolve, she confidently shouts, "Let's go!" Luz charges forward with determination, ready to catch the golden Rana. However, the frog detects movement within a 4-meter radius and instantly starts to flee. The narrow dungeon hallways make avoiding detection nearly impossible, adding to the challenge. Luz activates acrobatic steps, skillfully running along the walls to bypass the golden Rana's detection radius. The frog, caught off guard, croaks in surprise. Elma watches with confidence, knowing the plan is working. Luz chases after the fleeing golden rana, determined not to let it escape. Luz uses Doppel illusion to block the golden rana's escape, exploiting its inability to see through illusions in the narrow corridor. Elma realizes that Shadow Step is effective against the golden rana, but the challenge is successfully executing Shadow Stomp due to its speed and small shadow. Elma is determined not to fail and prepares to use the magic stone Holy, which releases a healing light by circulating mana. Though its healing is minimal, it might serve another purpose in the battle. Elma demonstrates an alternative use for the magic stone Holy by throwing it, releasing a blinding light. The golden Lana reacts with a startled croak, caught off guard by the unexpected tactic. Elma executes Shadow Stomp, targeting the golden Lana's shadow. A confident smirk appears as the technique lands successfully. Elma's Shadow Stomp lands, pinning the golden Rana in place. With a triumphant shout, he declares victory. The golden Rana struggles but is pinned down. Luz cheers as Elma successfully lands the final move. Luz realizes they've almost secured the golden Rana, but questions how they'll finish it. Elma states the only way is to land a critical strike. Luz explains critical hits pierce 50% of the target's defense. However, Elma doubts his attacks would work even with a crit. Luz enthusiastically encourages him to give it his best. Elma hesitates, admitting he has never landed a critical hit before. Luz reassures him, saying a crit requires both skill and luck, and he's counting on him. Luz reminds Elma of his starting skill, Dice Thrust, which rolls a number to trigger effects. Elma recalls it being called useless before. Luz realizes that rolling a 6 with Dice Thrust guarantees a critical hit, stacking with Iron Piercer's penetration for massive damage. Elma reassures Luz that no skill is useless, even if it's situational. With Dice Thrust, rolling a 6 guarantees massive damage and penetration. Elma asks for Luz's strength once more. Determined, Luz grips her weapon tightly and charges forward. Luz, determined, declares she'll do it. Encouraged by Elma, she unleashes Dice Thrust, aiming at the golden Rana. Luz hurls Dice Thrust with determination. The dice spins mid-air, landing on 5, as the golden Rana watches in panic. Luz lands a critical hit. The dice rolls a 6, delivering a devastating strike to the golden Rana. Luz's critical hit shatters the golden Rana, sending it tumbling before it finally collapses. A rare drop rolls onto the floor. Luz and her companion level up significantly after defeating the golden Rana. While the high exp is great, the real prize is the rare item drop with a 50% chance. They wait anxiously to see if they got lucky.